be live to YouTube now.
Let's see.
And I will let everybody know that we're here so we can do a show.
Right over chair.
Let everybody know in Discord. And I'm going to go back to the top 5 submissions so I can just go right to it. And
Refresh
there's...
this.
Go right up to Joey Image, and I knew what his list was going to consist of.
Like Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
Same thing we do every week. Mention Days Gone.
All right. And I think we're good. We're good. I'm good if you are. One sec. Chick.
Okay. I was just checking the sound
All
on
right.
YouTube. Yeah, everything sounds good.
All right. Well, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we're back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
So, how do you feel about the commentary track that we just dropped last night?
I was about to say, I'm still living on the high of Wishman. So it's been a fantabulous day.
It was weird. So, if you wanna see what we're talking about, we just put it up on the Patreon, and it is not going out to the regular feed because we don't own the rights to it. You can't stream it anywhere. So we happen to get ourselves a copy of it, and if you want to watch it along with us, go be a patron over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, and as little as $1, you get to have access to that. And man, let me tell you, is it worth it?
It was an experience. I'll say that. But no, in all seriousness, like as a movie and TV buff, I always enjoy discovering like stuff that only aired one time or maybe never aired at all for whatever reason may be. So it was a nice little treat. Was it great? Of course not. But the commentary was fun. And that's the important thing.
The worse things are, the better they are for us. That's how our commentary tracks go.
Yeah, because usually if it's good, we just sit there and we watch the show or the movie and we don't say much. So, no, the worst shows and movies make for the best commentary tracks for sure.
But other than having to watch that abomination, how was your weekend?
It wasn't too bad. Didn't really do too much. We cleaned up the house a little bit, which has been, vastly overdue. Started working football again on Fridays, so it'll be nice to have some extra income coming in a couple of weeks. But other than that, pretty uneventful weekend. What about you?
Same. I started watching Resident Alien. Told you guys about it a little bit last night. It is so good. It's on Netflix. I think they're about to drop season 3. So if you're an Alan Tudyk fan or you like weird comedies, just go check it out. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So if you like sci-fi stuff, you like Alan Tudyk, just go watch it. You won't regret it.
Now that you mentioned he was in it, I know exactly what show you're talking about, and it does look good. So I'll get to it at some point.
Before we go into, we do have a couple of news stories I want to get to before we do our top 5 list tonight. But I do want to, before we go into it, I want to give a huge happy birthday shout out to our friend and Discord community manager, Daniel Salmon. He does not get enough credit for being the, what would you say, the unseen co-host here on the show. He does a lot of work for us over on the Discord. Has been a friend for a long time, so thank you to him. So if you're on the Discord, go. He's at Bethany Fox. Go wish him a happy birthday. and tell him thank you for everything he does, helping out the show behind the scenes.
Yeah, because the Discord wouldn't exist
Yeah.
if not for him. So, yeah, definitely a happy belated birthday, and hope it was a great one.
But we got a couple of news stories to get to. You ready to jump into it?
Sure.
One of the stories is brought to us by Armez Jackson. So if you have a news story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And the first story is from Polygon.com. Atari announces the 7800 Plus console coming this winter. Let's see. The Atari has just announced a renewed version of its 7800 home console from 1986. Dubbed the 7800 Plus, the new console will launch later this winter, but is already available to pre-order from Atari for $129.99. It is a scaled-down version of the original hardware equipped with an HDMI connection and has the ability to play first and third-party cartridges from the Atari 2600 and 7800. Additionally, you'll have the option to play your games in their original 4:3 aspect ratio or upscale them to widescreen format. So what do you think about the new 7800 from Atari?
I have mixed feelings on it. The Atari was a bit before my time. I think it's cool that one, it's coming out. If you're an Atari fan, I think it's something that's worth getting. The fact that it can play cartridges is actually really, really cool. I don't know if I'll be getting one personally, but like I said, if you're an Atari fanatic or you grew up with one, I think it's worth getting.
Yeah, it's not a bad price, 130
No, it's
bucks,
not.
But who had a 7800? I didn't know anybody that had one.
No idea.
I mean, it looks cool. I like the way it looks. It's very 80s slick. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's definitely got the colors. It's like a dark gray, but it's got that, like multicolor stripe along the middle of it. So it's got a little bit of that retro aesthetic.
I dig it. Like you said, I'm kind of the same way. I don't really have a use for it, but it would be cool to have one. But I don't know if I'm going to throw down $130 for it.
Maybe something I'll get down the line, but I won't be getting this, as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, Joey is in the chat room. He said he had a 2600 and a 5200, but never a 7800. Yeah, they just kind of passed right over the 5200. They're like, we'll just skip that one.
Would you say it's like the Wii U of retro consoles?
Probably. It seems like it.
Yeah, fair enough. Next story comes to us from tomshardware.com. The Spectrum full-sized retro computer leaks $99 device with 48 games will arrive in November. A full-size modern remake of the classic 8-bit Sinclair ZX Spectrum computer created by Retro Games and marketed as the Spectrum looks set to launch shortly. Modeled on the iconic Spectrum 48K design with rubber block keys and rainbow stripe, the new device offers 48 built-in games and makes it easy for retro enthusiasts to load their own titles via USB. Pay attention to that, Nintendo. Mm-hmm. The Spectrum 48K and 28K compatible machine has leaked in listings on Polish and UK online retailers with availability from November 22nd and has a price of £89, likely to translate to $99 at US distributors.
Now, this
is kind of cool.
This might be something worth looking into. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the 7800 is cool and everything. But this, I was always kind of interested in the ZX Spectrum. But this coming with 48 games, and it has USB to where you can load your own games onto it, that's a very much a plus.
And for $100, that's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
I'd be much more likely to get this than I would the 7800.
Yeah, I might look into actually getting one and then do a review of it, because that's not a bad price for it. $99 is not bad for that.
No, it's really not. I will say, in related news, Nintendo is having a direct tomorrow. In addition to the first trailer for Sonic 3 dropping.
Everything
tomorrow.
happens the day after we do the show. We should just move the show to Tuesdays from now on.
No, because then they'll move everything to Wednesdays.
So look for those stories next week on Nerd Cave Retro.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. You could follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll probably get my immediate reaction to the Sonic trailer, because they're doing a really good job of hyping it up. I don't know if you've seen any of the marketing that they've been doing, but they've been projecting these like images of Sonic and Shadow on different buildings in major cities.
That's cool.
With the word tomorrow. And then, Paramount and the Sonic movie Twitter confirmed that the trailer will drop tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I can't wait. I cannot wait.
We're not going to do this month of video game history, but before we go into the top 5 list tonight, we'll go ahead and do the Patreon shout-outs.
Alrighty. As always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out the official fact checker of the Nerd Cave Retro Show, Mr. Wally Phelps, Brian Piotrowski, Nick W., Eld the Zombie, Yup Fed, a.k.a. Knife, James, a.k.a. at Jimbo Jr. over on our Discord, Raven, Danny House, Justin Nispel, John West, Daniel Salmon, we mentioned him earlier, our Discord, we'll call him Discord Logistics Manager.
Yeah.
Logistics/community manager. So once again, happy belated birthday to him. Mr. B. Res Coffee himself, Mike Eveland, Tyler Watson, Axeblade07, Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, a.k.a. I am the Rampage. Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Mr. Joey Image, and of course,
Mama Diamond.
Donna Diamond. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions, and this is the perfect time to join the Patreon, because you get exclusive viewing or listening, or both, to our commentary / watch along for the legendary Wishman.
Legendary only to me, because I am the only person that remembers this weird movie.
I'm not going to lie, until we decided we were doing a commentary track for it, I had no idea that this even existed.
I thought it was a fever dream. I thought it was a fever dream until we actually watched it. I was like, this thing actually happened. I'm not crazy. So you see out there, people, I'm not crazy.
But in addition to that, you get early access to all future commentary tracks. The general public normally get them about a month after the Patreons do. And you get access to, of course, ad-free episodes of the show, your own RSS feed. You get to vote on potential reviews that we do every now and then. One of us will post a poll asking for you to decide what we review, because we can't decide ourselves. But if you want to be a part of our awesome Patreon community, just head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new patrons, be sure to send us your social media info, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, so we can give you a proper shout out.
And tonight, we're going to be doing our top 5 games we'd like to see as a series. Let me play a little bumper here.
You look like your head fell on the cheese dip back in 1957.
And thank you to Morley316 on our Discord for the suggestion. This was kind of a hard list to make, because there's so many games that could be turned into a series. It's just kind of like, there's like dozens. So how do you whittle it down to 5? So I came up with 5 plus 2 honorable mentions. Then did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I usually go first, so why don't you go first this time?
All right. Well, I'll start off with my honorable mentions. The first one is an Xbox 360 game called Condemned. And if you're a long-time listener to this show, me and Wally have talked about Condemned before several times, about how awesome that game was on the Xbox 360 as far as survival horror. You're a reporter. You're investigating all kind of weird supernatural stuff. You have no weapons. All you're doing is just solving basically solving mysteries. And I think that would be a pretty interesting TV show.
Agreed.
And also, I wrote, this is a weird one, but I would like to see a Batman Arkham Asylum series done in the CGI like the game's cutscenes. But it's too bad we don't have Kevin Conroy anymore. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and with the loss of Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill has said he'll never play the Joker again.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have him either. That would be an interesting take on Batman because those games have some great storylines.
Yeah.
You can say what you will about the stealth style gameplay that we've mentioned, numerous times on the show. But the idea, especially to adapt that first game with Batman being trapped in Arkham, make that like an entire season.
Yeah.
And then you could do like the next Arkham game as season 2. That would actually be really cool. And it would be a bit of a different take on Batman.
Yeah, because we've had so many different versions of Batman through movies, animation, different TV shows that are about Gotham City, but don't have Batman, like Gotham, things like that. Why have we never gotten just like a TV show with just Batman? And if you could do it in that CGI style of that game, I would watch the hell out of that show.
Oh, 100%.
Now on to my actual list, and this one comes at no surprise. Number 5, Ninja Gaiden. I think Ninja Gaiden is such a weird story that it would make a great TV series to follow Ryu Hayabusa on his adventures fighting demons and, the CIA. Like, there's just so much stuff in there that you could mine. And who doesn't love ninjas?
I think especially if you set it in the 80s.
Yeah.
You look at kind of like what Stranger Things has done with capturing that 80s culture.
Yeah.
You could do the same thing with Ninja Gaiden.
Exactly. Why that has not been done, even as an anime? I mean, I think there is an anime. I think Tyler told me about one a while back, but I never got a chance to watch it because I think I might have forgotten about it. But I think they did make an anime a long time ago. But I'm talking like do it modern, but retro.
Yeah, exactly.
Sea of Stars at my number 4 spot. I loved that game and its story so much. I would love to just see an anime series based on Sea of Stars.
When I saw this was on your list, that was instantly what I thought. This would work great as a cartoon series.
Yeah, Joey says Demons in the CIA is a great title for that show. But yeah, Sea of Stars, if you guys out there, I'm telling you, if you haven't played it yet, please just go give it a try, especially if you have Game Pass. It's on Game Pass right now. Just go give it a try. It's totally worth your time. And it's about a 20-hour game, 22-hour game. So, and it's worth every second of it. I love just being in that world. I want a whole TV series based on it.
Maybe one day.
At my number 3 spot, Alan Wake. I would love to have an Alan Wake TV series.
This would be an excellent show.
It just sort of like Twin Peaks, but a little Stranger Things. It's like Stranger Things and Twin Peaks would have a baby, and that's what the Alan Wake TV show would be.
You just have to get a cameo from Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah, and a damn good piece of cherry pie. Or no, it's a damn good cup of coffee and a slice of cherry pie.
Yep. Yeah, I need to watch Twin Peaks again. I haven't watched that show in so long, but yeah, that would be the perfect blend. Twin Peaks meets Stranger Things. Alan Wake would be perfect.
At my number 2 spot, I know this is going to sound weird, but stay with me. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Now imagine.
I'd be all for that, honestly.
Here's the thing, but it's set in the 90s, but it's got that 50s retro aesthetic to it. So it's already retro by being 90s, but even more, meta retro by being, kind of that 50s aesthetic, but just so campy and weird. It's hard for me to describe, but that's how I would see that particular TV show.
Yeah, Retroception could be the subtitle of it.
Just
retro
make it,
within retro.
just make it completely campy and just gory and weird, and I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, you could take a little bit of, and I know this isn't retro, but you look at the success of Zombieland, how it perfectly merged the horror and the comedy.
Yeah.
I could see Zombies Ate My Neighbors doing something like that. Like make it even more campy, but you could still have that horror factor to it. But I think you'd lean more into the comedy side of it.
Oh, absolutely. I just love that game, and I just want to. I don't know why
Yeah,
I want to
it's
play it.
fun.
I want to play it all the time. I wish they would just come back with more Zombies Ate My Neighbors games.
If only.
And at my number one spot, Metroid. Why we have not gotten a Metroid TV series or even movie? I'll just take a movie at this point. I mean, with the success of Super Mario Brothers, Sonic, we've got Legend of Zelda coming up. Why are they not making a Metroid series? It's beyond me.
Well, if you look on the TV show side of things, you look at The Last of Us and how
Yeah.
successful that was at taking the elements of the game. Yeah, there were changes, but they actually serviced the story. So now we know that it can be done right. I think Metroid, honestly, like, on one hand, I would prefer it as a movie, but I think it would also make for an excellent show because you could really draw things out and you could really hammer in that isolation
Yeah.
of Samus being by herself,
Well, not
hunting
only-
these things down.
Not only that, but you have the bigger world outside of these worlds that she goes to. Because she's a bounty hunter. I mean, it's almost like just take the Mandalorian template, like from the first season of Mandalorian, and you make it Metroid, but you send her to a planet and she's alone. And I think that's where The Last of Us, and especially Fallout, those two TV series captured what the games felt like when you play the games, and I think that's what made them so good. All you have to do with Metroid is just capture that sense of how you feel when you're playing the game, that sense of loneliness, but also there's something horrible around the next corner.
As long as the season one's a success and then we can get an adaptation of Metroid Fusion as like a season 2 or
Yeah.
a 3, that would be perfect.
Yeah, and right when you
I'd love a
think
Metroid show.
right when you think the season's over, no, you got a whole nother episode of the final boss to go through.
Oh man, those are all really good choices.
Joey H said Metrolorian. I would watch that. A Metroid and Mandalorian mashup sounds awesome.
This is the way.
This is the way. But now we're on to your list, my good sir.
So I took a bit of a different approach with my list. I know we did adaptations into movies, and I'm not going to list the ones that you'd expect. Like, obviously, I think Zelda would make an excellent series. I think that, even though the success of the Mario movie, I think a Mario series would be great. So I tried to leave out the obvious ones. In my honorable mentions, I also have two. This has already been done, but we've talked about how not good it was. So a good Halo series is my honorable mention because there is too much lore, there's too much good from that series to just have it end with 2 mediocre seasons of a show.
How do you have a Halo series with like no Master Chief in it? Like, he's barely in it, and when he is, he's not wearing a mask.
And the thing is, like, Reach was an afterthought. Reach could be its own spinoff. The Fall of Reach could be its own thing. Like, you look at Halo Reach, the game, you could say that's arguably the best story of any of the Halo games that came out.
Let me ask you a question. What is the one thing that keeps you into a TV show?
Good characters.
I was going to say that exact thing. Good, compelling characters. You know how many good, compelling characters were in the Halo series? None.
None, really.
I didn't know anyone's name. I watched all 2 seasons. I didn't know who was who. The only person in the show I knew who it was Master Chief. Everybody else is just like, there's no good characters to follow in that show.
Him and Cortana, and of course they screwed up that dynamic.
Yeah,
So like I would just
makes my head.
I just
hurt.
redo it. I would just redo it. Like I didn't mind the other Spartan characters, but that their dynamic made me think, okay, this is why they should do Reach as its own thing, because that's based off a group of characters.
Yeah,
This is Master Chief's story, and you have Cortana as like the companion, because he's got to have somebody to bounce off of.
Yeah.
It's like Navi with Link. You know, like yeah, I know Chief talks, but Cortana I feel like should be more of the spokesperson.
yeah,
And their
there's no
dynamic is kind of a backbone of the show.
Yeah, there was no dynamic there between those two. There was nothing.
I know there's been a movie, but I think an Uncharted series, and you just straight up adapt all of the games, would be incredible.
Do you think Nathan Fillion's too old to play?
At this point, maybe. If you did Uncharted as a like 6-episode series, I'd bring him in.
Like, what
Bring
if
in Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake, and I would bring in Sam Elliott to be Sully.
what if they did this? What if they said, okay, we're going to do a 6 or 8 episode arc, and we're going to start off with Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake, and over the course of the series, age him to where, the last couple of episodes, he's Nathan Fillion. Just like cover a couple of different adventures throughout his life over the course of like 8 episodes or so, and just age him up to where eventually he's Nathan Fillion as an older man, Nathan Drake. I don't know. I think that would be a cool series arc.
And sign me up. I'd totally watch it. I think that'd be great.
Or even just do it like they did the Indiana Jones Chronicles, where they have Nathan Fillion come in and do the intro and outro, and he's just like, "Here, let me tell you about this one adventure I went on," and then it flashes back and it's Tom Holland. I'd be okay with that.
Here's another point, you mentioning Indiana Jones. If Harrison Ford can play Indiana Jones in modern age,
Yeah.
I think Nathan Fillion could do it too.
Oh yeah.
But I like that idea, though. I think that's really cool. Moving into my actual top 5, my number 5 is Skyrim. I love that game so much. I picked it up midnight release, played it all throughout the night. With the success of like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and other shows set in kind of that, medieval world.
Yeah.
And there are so many characters and storylines that you could pull from Skyrim.
Yeah.
From, I know we've seen dragons in Game of Thrones, but you've got, of course, the dragons, you've got the Mages Guild, you've got all kinds of great characters that you could pull from.
Mm-hmm.
And that world is so immersive that it would make for an excellent show.
Yeah, the world of the Elder Scrolls is so rich with everything that they could possibly think of to do a show like that. I don't know why it hasn't been tapped to do like at least a couple of movies by this point.
Yeah, you could make it into like a trilogy, but my fear would be that you'd get comparisons to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then it would almost be kind of doomed to fail. That's what
Yeah.
has kind of worried me about Zelda. Is people, and with it especially being live action now, are people going to look at it as a Lord of the Rings ripoff?
Yeah.
That's a discussion for a whole separate podcast. We'll have plenty of time to debate the Zelda movie.
True.
My number 4 is Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Angelina Jolie movies, which were not great. Let's be honest. The one that came out, I think it was in 2017 or 2018, was not bad. I can't remember the actress's name who played Lara Croft, but I thought that movie was actually pretty good. But I think in today's day and age where people are wanting that strong female lead, a modern Lara Croft can be that. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but with a show, you can flesh out her backstory more and her motivation as to why she is the way she is. And it'd be kind of similar to Uncharted, but I think Tomb Raider has a little bit more of a name. Like, people still know Tomb Raider, they know Lara Croft.
Yeah.
It would be an excellent show.
I like this next one. I think this will make a pretty funny TV show.
So, I had to throw my rare love in there.
Uh-huh.
You look at the success of South Park. You look at the success of Beavis and Butthead. You make a Conker's Bad Fur Day series. I think it would be hilarious. Throw it on one of the streaming services, or heck, I could see it as part of, I don't even know if Adult Swim is still around, but I think with those crazy characters, with the wacky environments, I think it'd be hilarious. People that were fans of the game obviously would love it, but it could even be introduced to a whole new audience. Those that didn't experience the game would be awesome.
I think if they were to do a Conker's Bad Fur Day TV series, they would definitely have to go hard into the mature side of it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just make all the humor just as raunchy as you could possibly make it.
I would love it. I think it'd be hilarious. My number 2 is Star Fox, one of the most untapped and underutilized properties of Nintendo. Mm-hmm. You look at the storyline of the original game or Star Fox 64, it has all the makings of like an 8 to 10 episode series of Fox and his team flying to Venom to take out Andross so he can avenge the death of his father. You have plenty of time to show flashbacks of, the old Star Fox team with Fox's dad in charge. You get to kind of go through Andross's backstory. There was actually, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember in Nintendo Power when they would have comic book adaptations of different properties?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They had a Star Fox one, and it actually delved into both Fox and Andross's, younger days. So why not adapt that into a show?
Yeah.
You have the anthropomorphic animals, so it's going to appeal to the younger audience. Older audience, we grew up with Star Fox, we know what it is, and it's set in space.
Yeah, not only that, I think you could capture that Star Wars market at this point with something like Star Fox.
Well, that's an excellent segue to my number 1.
Yep.
I'm sure you heard, but the Acolyte was canceled after one season.
Yeah.
Why don't you just take Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 and you just straight up adapt it into a show? It would be the best thing since The Mandalorian. I have no doubt of that. If you do it right, it would make so many people happy.
You got no pushback from me. I mean, I've been wanting a Knights of the Old Republic anything for the last 25 years. I mean, ever since I played this game for the first time. Like, why? Even as far back as then, playing this game, I'm like, these would make great movies. Like, if why doesn't George Lucas make these into movies? Because it's so good.
What I wish now, and this is all hindsight, but what would have been excellent to do is of course, you have the original trilogy. I then would have made the sequels with Thrawn as the main villain. Make those in the 90s. And then you can still make the prequels, because everybody would be a little older, but not drastically older. You might have to recast Jake Lloyd as young Anakin. And then after that, then you make Knights of the Old Republic, and you have a 12 movie arc.
Yeah. In another world. In another world.
Man.
There is an alternate dimension where that happened, where there are people in that alternate dimension bitching about Knights of the Old Republic sequels.
Probably. That's something that spans all multiverses
Yeah.
is fans complaining about Star Wars. No, then they would have been like, you know what? I really would have liked, for them to maybe make the sequels down the line and have them not really be about the original characters because they're hogging the spotlight.
Yeah.
But my point being, I know I went off on a separate tangent there, but Knights of the Old Republic base season 1 based off the first game, make it like 13 episodes, and then you just go into the second game. Yeah, you can make little tweaks, but the story for both games is excellent. I don't think you really need to mess with it all that much.
Yeah.
It would just add so much to the Star Wars lore, I think.
Yeah, because we need something. Like, they had a shot with the Acolyte, but they fumbled the ball. Just dive into Knights of the Old Republic. Just do it. It's what people have been clamoring for. And even if you screw it up, at least you could say, well, we did it,
Yeah, we tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I think it would be quite successful if they did it right.
Well, now we're going to go into your top 5 lists, and I'll read these first 2 since the very first one is just one. From Facebook, Brian C. says Sleeping Dogs, and that's his only entry.
I never played Sleeping Dogs.
I didn't either. It looked interesting because isn't that the game that's all about like hacking and stuff like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I never played that, so I don't really know too much about it.
I could see it, like that basic premise working as a good show, though.
Yeah. And up next, we have Mr. Jacob Craig, my co-host over on Open Micers Podcast. At his number 5, he says Grand Theft Auto, the most violent, raunchy TV series of all time set in the GTA universe, could actually be successful if done right.
I love that choice.
Agreed.
Grand Theft Auto, any of the Grand Theft Auto games would make for great shows. And the ratings would be really high, especially for that first episode, because everybody knows what Grand Theft Auto is.
Number 4, Hitman. I don't think Hitman has translated well to any of the movies, but a TV show where each episode is like a contract you would play in the game could be the formula. It's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, because if you think of the early seasons of Smallville, how they had like the meteor freak of the week that Clark would fight.
Yeah.
Each episode is a different contract.
That's not a bad
That could
idea.
actually work. I like that a lot, actually.
Number 3, Sly Cooper. Maybe I'm just thirsty for a Sly Cooper remake, but I think a cheeky animated series could bring the character to a new generation.
I hate to disappoint Jacob because I know he's going to be when I say this, but I've never played a Sly Cooper game.
I haven't either.
I've watched videos. I've seen plenty of photos and magazines and online. It looks fun, and I could see it making for a fun show.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. And Joey said World of Hackers is sort of talking about Sleeping Dogs. Said World of Hackers is sort of Mr. Robot, sort of like Mr. Robot. And that was a great show. I'd only watched the first couple episodes of that, and then I dropped off.
But Mr. Robot's pretty good.
At number 2, Elder Scrolls. I think an Elder Scrolls show in the same vein as Game of Thrones could have a lot of meat on the bones, especially if they start from the first game. Agreed. There's a lot of lore there.
Yeah, absolutely. You just start with the first Elder Scrolls game, you could go for decades.
Oh, yeah.
With that.
And that is number 1. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but Red Dead.
I didn't either.
I think a gritty Western set in the Red Dead universe would be sick and pretty well received, even though the Western genre is kind of gone. I don't think it is. I think there's still some pretty good Westerns being made. Like, dude, The Hateful Eight was great. I think if you were to give Red Dead Redemption to Quentin Tarantino, I think he could do a pretty good version of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, and I mean, every genre I feel like goes through a phase where it's kind of like the most prevalent thing. Like you look at Westerns back in the day, and then they eventually fell off, and you look at like Marvel as being kind of like the new Western. Eventually it's going to fall off too. But the Westerns have never truly gone away.
Yeah.
But I think this could put a good twist on the Western genre that I think could bring some casuals in. Yeah, I would love a Red Dead show.
Oh, speaking of Westerns, dude, Stephen King has been teasing Dark Tower stuff on Twitter and Threads the last couple of weeks, and it's killing me. I'm like, do you have another book coming? Is there another book coming? Because that's something that should be made into a TV series, is the Dark Tower series.
Actually do this one right.
Yeah, exactly. God, that movie was terrible.
I didn't even bother to see it.
It's so... Don't bother. It's awful.
Yeah, it didn't look great from the trailers. Next up, we have Josh Hartman. He says, "Oh, geez, some are already shows that aren't great, but number 5, Mega Man Legends. Absolutely love these two games, and there's so much they could explore in the world." Mm-hmm. Neither of us mentioned Mega Man.
I thought
Mega Man
about
would be
putting it
kind of
on my
interesting.
list, but I know they've made a bunch of cartoons and stuff, and I don't know if Mega Man's something you could really like make a live action show or anything out of, but it would make a pretty good like I don't know, like an anime or something, like a really like gritty anime.
Yeah. Number 4, Fusion Frenzy, but as a game show.
That's interesting.
Yeah. 3, Death Row. First off, how is this gem not leave the OG Xbox? I'd watch this sport. I don't think I've ever played Death Row.
I didn't either.
Number 2, Shenmue, the open world greatness, but make it TVMA and let Ryu truly kick butt to the fullest. And number 1, Tunic. We already got a Zelda show, so let's make the Zelda light game into a show, but let's make it good.
Let's see.
Good choices.
Yeah. And the last one from Facebook, we have Stephen Fair. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He only has 3. Legend of Zelda, which I think is coming, hopefully, one of these days.
Yeah.
And number 2, I agree with this, Crystalis, which I reviewed for the NES. That game is that storyline is so weird, it might actually work as a TV show.
Don't you love those? The so crazy it might actually work kind of thing.
Like if you were to just dive into it and just like lean into the weirdness of it, I think it would work. It's like that's that post-apocalyptic, after humans are gone and then you get unfrozen and like you all of a sudden you're a wizard and there's like magic and all kind of stuff and it's like sort of medieval but also futuristic. Like that would be really cool world to dive into.
Absolutely.
And he says Final Fantasy 4 or 6. I don't know which one's which. They're all the same to me, except 7. 7 was the only one I played and liked.
4 is 6 and 6 is 4.
Yeah, or 8 or 18 or 11.3. Who knows?
Something like that. We actually have a Threads submission. This is kind of cool from @HushedPixel over on Threads. Number 5, Heavenly Sword. I don't think I've ever played Heavenly Sword.
Yeah, I didn't either. I know of it. I just never played it.
Number 4, Knights of the Old Republic. We talked about that earlier. Number 3, Jade Empire. I'm a little surprised this hasn't come up yet. Number 2, Sea of Stars. You mentioned that earlier. And number 1, Ghost of Tsushima.
Those are all good choices. These are some good lists so far, everybody.
Yeah. Good.
And now we're going to jump over to Discord. And, of course, the very first one is Mr. Joey Image, who's in the chat room right now. He says, 1, Days Gone. The rest are in no specific order. Overwatch, preferably animated, GTA 5, Warcraft, and Cyberpunk 2077. Now, Warcraft would be interesting as a TV series. The movie was okay. I enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't great. I think as a TV series, it might actually work.
And with Cyberpunk, as long as you get Keanu, I think you're.
Here, let me see.
I think you're good to go.
Yeah, Angelina's like over here frantically pointing. And you already said Star Fox, but she wanted to show her Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, yes, Star Fox Adventures, yeah. Underrated game, by the way.
Yeah, I watched her play it. It's an interesting game. I don't know if I would be that into it, but it seems pretty fun.
It's like Star Fox meets Zelda.
Yeah. And he says his honorable mentions are Red Dead Redemption, BioShock, Portal, Star Fox, and of course Booger Man.
Yeah.
We all want to see a Booger Man TV show.
And then you could inevitably have a Booger Man Conquer crossover.
Yeah, why not?
Because why not? Next up, we have Nick W. His honorable mentions are God of War. That would be an excellent show. GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Trails of Cold Steel, and Final Fantasy VIII. Moving into number 5, or his top 5. His number 5 is BioShock. Number 4, Final Fantasy VII. I think if you were to adapt a Final Fantasy game, it's that one.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
the most recognizable. Number 3, Silent Hill. That would be a good show, too.
Yeah, it would have to be super scary
Yeah.
and dark and weird. Like they did actually that first movie. I still say that first Silent Hill movie is great.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh, dude, why don't we? Let's do a commentary for it.
Okay. I'm all for it.
Or we could just do a roundtable discussion about it because I would like to just talk about the movie.
Okay.
'Cause I love it.
We could do that for Halloween Horror Month. We
Let's
got
do
that
that.
coming up.
I'm for it.
Number 2, Metal Gear Solid. Little surprised that hasn't come up yet either, because you can make
Yeah.
Snake into a really cool character. And number 1, Legend of Zelda.
And up
You're
next,
not gonna get any disagreement with me on that one.
me either. And up next we have I Am the Rampage, who is still I Am Scooter McGee in the Discord. And
Rampage McGee.
Rampage McGee. At number 5, Red Dead Redemption. Westerns are making a comeback. Number 4, Contra. Can't believe we haven't seen Contra before now. Making a big over-the-top 80s style action like Predator. I'm for it.
100%.
I'm for it. I would watch that right now. Who would you have? Who would you cast in a Contra TV series? I mean, would it have to be John Cena and The Rock? I mean, that's pretty much the only two people I could think of to put in those two roles. Just as two big, dumb, beefy guys just killing aliens.
I would say if he were still as big as he was when he was a wrestler, you could throw Batista in as a wild card.
Yeah. Have you seen him lately? He's lost a ton of weight.
Well, I mean, he did that by design.
Yeah.
He that way he can get a more variety of roles. But man, back when he was like first, like a main guy, he was huge.
Yeah.
'Cause I went to a house show back in '05, and that guy, like, not only is he jacked, but he's tall too. He's like 6'5".
Jeez. That's taller
Like
than me.
that guy could eat me for lunch.
It is number 3, R-Type. Battlestar Galactica meets Starship Troopers, space opera, and fighting giant space bugs. I'm for it.
Yeah, why not?
Number 2, Metal Gear Solid. Tactical espionage action says it all. And at his number 1, he says Metroid. 2 words, space horror. Need I say more? I still want to go see the new Alien movie too. I love space horror. Space horror is great.
That trailer for that movie looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
There's one problem I have with it, though. It's called Alien Romulus, and I heard not a single Romulan is
Yeah.
in that movie. So,
There
I
are
don't-
4 aliens.
so I don't know if I can support it in good conscience.
Joey says Batista, he's a monster. I was in a locker room with him one time, and I was intimidated for life.
Yeah, I wouldn't make him angry.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess
He's-
with that guy.
I actually, funny enough, mentioning Batista, I met him at a Comic-Con style event in Atlanta several years ago. Super nice guy and very soft-spoken. But it was like we only talked for like 15 seconds. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got good vibes from the guy.
Yeah. Get him on the podcast.
Oh, God, if that happens, I could just retire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Next up, we have the official fact checker to the fact checker, Mr. Tyler Watson. His honorable mention, only one honorable mention, surprisingly. Metal Wolf Chaos. Never heard of this game. It was released for the original Xbox, but only in Japan until it got a re-release on the PS4. It's absolute insanity. You play as the U.S. president who has to stop a coup led by the vice president. Also, you both pilot giant mechs. Look up some cutscenes sometime, as the writing and voice acting are hilariously bad. This is like political espionage meets Pacific Rim.
I've never heard of this.
No, but I kind of want to look up some cutscenes now because he brought that up.
Me too. Sounds awesome.
Number 5, I should have had this on my list. Kingdom Hearts. Fun fact, there were plans to turn this into an animated show for the Disney Channel around the time of the first game, but it fell through. Revive that concept, but make it better, because some of that concept art for it looked rough. I don't know why it's not a thing already.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have 3 games and like 50 spinoffs, so you've got plenty of material. But I think that this would be, to those who have never played the game, this would be a cool twist on like Donald, Goofy, Mickey, your classic Disney characters. And it would give something that people have wanted for years. You have all the major Disney properties in one game.
Yeah.
People would go see it for that alone.
I agree with you.
Well, if it were a movie as a show, I mean, people would obviously watch it for that.
I think it would be something. If they were to make a TV show of that, that would definitely get more people to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Oh, God, yes. Absolutely. Number 4, Mega Man. So the Ruby Spears cartoon from the 90s was bad, but a fun bad. The theme song was great, though. A few years ago, there was another animated show called Mega Man Fully Charged that was even worse. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did
But
too.
yeah, he's right. Seriously, they made a mini version of Mega Man that lived in regular Mega Man's head and supplied him with his power. We need something that much more closely follows the beat of the game story, much like the comic from Archie Comics years ago.
Agreed.
That comic book run was great. And it ended with a crossover with Mega Man and Sonic.
No, nice.
It was really cool because you had Robotnik and Dr. Wily team up too.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. That crossover was so good. Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Man, this game is beautiful to look at and would translate well to a show. For those unfamiliar, the game follows samurai Jin Sakai as he tries to repel the Mongol invasion of the island of Tsushima. It's going to be getting a segment in the recently announced secret level for Amazon Prime Video, so let's just extend it out. Yeah, why not? Number 2, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, I know a movie is being made, but with a story so dense and detailed like the series is, a movie is not enough time to do it justice.
Yeah.
Agreed. And number 1, Wing Commander. Give this thing the same serious treatment the Battlestar Galactica reboot got a while back, and this is a license to print money.
Yeah. Wonder if they could get what's his name to come back. He played Shaggy in the he was in Scream and he played Shaggy.
Oh, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard. I wonder if they could get him to come back and be in Wing Commander.
You'd get the casuals back.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And up next, we have Bethany Fox, a.k.a. Daniel Salmon, our Discord manager. Happy birthday. And he says, honorable mentions Jack and Daxter, because why not? I mean,
That would be good.
Yeah.
And man, if you did the whole series, it would take such a twist once you got to the second one because the style almost completely changes.
And his other honorable mention is Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think y'all are both on the same wavelength there.
Yeah.
At number 5, he says The Resistance. It's on PS3 and has a good story and could work as a TV show. I don't remember The Resistance.
I don't either.
Red Out could work because they did a similar anime movie called Red Line. That was a similar concept. Number 3, Enter the Gungeon. Could be a really interesting TV show. Number 2,
Okay.
Star Fox. What does it say?
Star Fox, and then it would transition to Star Fox Adventures as the series progressed.
Oh, yeah.
That would actually, that'd be, if you wanted to give it like a good 4 or 5 seasons, That'd be a great way because, Crystal comes in Star Fox Adventures. She's basically like Fox's love interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a good natural progression.
And here's one I'm surprised you didn't say: Banjo-Kazooie.
I would love a Banjo-Kazooie series. It would be so wacky. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. That would be one that I would feel confident that I could write a good Banjo-Kazooie series.
Yeah.
And make it work. Next up, we have Raven Ghostpaw. Number 5, Nioh and Nioh 2. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I've never heard of that.
I haven't either.
Number 4, Tales of Symphony. Number 3, Secret of Mana. I agree with that. I think it would be a good series as well, because you've got a great dynamic with the trio of the lead characters. You've got so many great environments, and it could be a long series too, because Secret of Mana is a pretty long game.
Yeah.
Number 2, Metroid. And number 1, Baldur's Gate 3.
I still
Good
need to play that.
choices.
Still, Baldur's Gate 3 is still sitting in my Steam account. I just need a way to play it.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet either.
Up next, we have IR Monkey, or Monk E, in our Discord. He was in the chat room last week. I was kind of hoping he'd be here tonight for this. His honorable mentions are Jeopardy, Dragon Ball Z Budokai, and DuckTales. I bet those would make great TV series. At his number 5, Mega Man, the NES version, would be 5 seasons worth. True. Very true. These are numbered weird, so I'm just going to go with 4. Tekken, with enough time to develop the characters and the whole Mishima Corp development, I guess corporation, or Mishima Core development through time. I don't know enough about Tekken to know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Number 3, Leisure Suit Larry, an adult comedy with adult situations, but not nudity or overly gratuitous sexualized situations. That would actually make a pretty good TV show.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Number 2, Ninja Gaiden. 4 seasons, 1 developing Ryu, and lead up to Season 2 with the opening movie from the game as the end of Season 1, then follow the NES trilogy story. I'm for it. I would watch
100%.
it. I'm for it. And then number 1, Metroid as a space cop series, with some episodes being scary, some being suspenseful, and always doing character building, all accumulated to a full feature live action movie against Mother Brain. Okay, I'm for it. I would watch
But not
that.
the Mother Brain from Captain N.
Yeah, no. Not what was the guy's name? Who did the voice of Mother Brain?
I'm sure Wally will let us
Yeah,
know when he listens to the episode.
I should know the name right offhand. But I can't.
because we've talked about it with him on the show.
Wasn't it like Levi
I can't-
Stubbs or something like that?
I think that's
Yeah.
it, Levi Stubbs.
And he says, "Oh, and I think some of those WWE games could do well too."
Yeah, I think so. From Morley316, here's my list. Apologies as I'm on holiday, so my list is short but sweet. Number 5, BioShock. Number 4, The Division. 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That would be
Yeah.
the game I would adapt.
Yeah.
2, Half-Life. That would be a good one too. And another one I can't believe we haven't
I know.
mentioned yet, but Gears of War. Gears of War would make an awesome show.
I know. I didn't even think of it because it's like that's so big. Like that would just the effects budget would just be insane for that show. And up next we have Justin Nispel, who at number 5 says Elder Scrolls. Number 4, God of War. 3, live action Dragon Ball Z series. 2, a live action Pokemon series.
That'd be so good.
And 1, Blaster Master. I'm for it.
As long as it takes place in Bartertown.
Yeah.
I will say this, a live action Pokemon series, because of how like well the Pokemon looked in Detective Pikachu, I think that could really work. A live action Pokemon show would be so good.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Mr. Brandon Rutledge. Surprisingly, I had a hard time thinking of anything I would be happy with, but here we are. Honorable mentions, Castlevania, Area of Sorrow, The story and mythos from this game alone is enough for me to want to see a TV adaptation. Secret of Mana could be a fun fantasy adventure show for the kids. Star Fox, not the biggest Star Fox fan, but this has the makings of a good show. And Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Just need the right actor to play Turok. How about John Bernthal?
That's actually kind of inspired.
You know who they would probably pick? They'd probably pick Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. How do I know Glenn Powell?
Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
Kind of the douchebag pilot. He was Hangman.
That's
Just because he's in like almost everything.
Yeah.
But I like Glenn Powell. I like him in everything I've seen him in.
See,
so.
I loved him in. I first saw him in Scream Queens, and he was just like the perfect douchebag in that show.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Hitman yet, he's funny in it too.
Yeah.
Number 5, Mario Kart. Pretty much a Nintendo licensed version of Wacky Races, which I would love to see. That'd be an interesting spinoff of Mario.
Yeah. I was thinking like it could be kind of like it's a mad world type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Number 4, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Tells a great story of father versus son in gothic horror setting. Even better if they keep the hokey dialogue. Number 3, Final Fantasy VI. The only issue would be casting Kefka, someone to capture his sadistic personality and iconic laugh. 2, No More Heroes. Yes, it would be vulgar with a profanity, pervy protagonist, and Tarantino-level gore, but I still want to see this become a show. And number 1, Kingdom Hearts. Disney has money. Make the show, you mouse-loving cowards.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Those are all really, really good lists.
Yeah, thank you all for those lists. I didn't think we were going to get that many. Man, we got inundated with lists this week. Thank you guys for that.
Oh, Jason Nispel says Banjo-Kazooie had a TV series in Canada.
Did it?
I have to find this. I'm going to look this up right now.
Yeah, Joey might have to find that and give us a complex way of seeing that show.
Let's see. Series Canada.
Yeah, see if it's streaming anywhere. That might be an interesting commentary track.
TV miniseries, yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, there's an IMDb for it.
Huh, that's interesting.
Oh, it looks almost like the Donkey Kong Country series.
Why did Canada get it and we didn't? That's weird.
You think if anyone got it, it'd be the UK.
I know.
'Cause that's where Rare's based out of. There's 2 seasons of it? Okay. I'll find it. That or Joey, I don't ask for really anything. This will be one thing I ask for.
But that's going to bring us to the end of the list for this week. Thank you, everybody, for submitting. And Derek, what are you going to be reviewing next week?
So next week, I'm going to be reviewing Einhander for the PlayStation. Tyler and Rampage were talking about this on the Discord a while back, and I was thinking, you know what? I haven't reviewed a PlayStation game in a while, so excited to check this out and see if it's as good as they say it is.
And after that, the week after that, I'm going to be reviewing Arrow the Acrobat. So get prepared for those 2 games, everybody. That's what's coming up.
I can't wait to hear about that.
And that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Derek, what's going on with Real Wisdom?
So, yeah, I had released, I call it a special episode because it's with a guy named Jeffrey Morgan, who is a documentary filmmaker based out of New Jersey. And he made a documentary about my hometown, which is the most random thing I could ever think of. But yeah, he made a documentary about my hometown and some of the racial history behind it, that about 2 specific incidents that happened. The trailer has, last I checked, over 130,000 plays on Facebook.
Wow.
And has like 21,000 views on YouTube. It's going to be premiering this Saturday at the Tallahassee Film Festival, which I will be attending. So you can go check out that interview. It's like an hour and a half long, but it's a really, really good interview. It's one of those podcasts that I'm legitimately proud of. So you can go check that out at linktree.com/realwisdompod. That's REEL Wisdom Pod.
Yeah, go check those shows out, everybody, because the Derek rebranding the show has definitely come back with a vengeance and had started off strong. I'm like,
I appreciate that.
only go up from here, my friend. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And for the Open Micers podcast, only way we have to go is down. Because
Oh, you guys do a really good show.
go check us out at Open Micers on Twitter and Instagram. We've had some really good guests over the last year because Jacob's just been killing it with the great guests. But we also do hostful episodes, which the last 2 episodes we did were hostful episodes. And we got some stuff, well, at least I got some stuff off my chest. So if you want to hear me scream about some, political stuff around town, so go check those out. And it's NSFW. It's not PG-13 like this show. So be warned before you go listen to the Open Micers podcast.
Use headphones.
Yeah, use headphones, everybody. Use headphones. And that's going to be it for this week. So, Derek, is there anything we need to tell everybody about before we get out of here?
I think that's it.
All right, well, let me play our music here. If you want to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. Nerdcaveretro.com is our link tree. That takes you everywhere you need to go. That takes you to our socials, our Patreon, and, of course, our merch shop, which we got all kind of stuff over there. We got T-shirts, hats, stickers, magnets, bags, mugs, all kind of different designs. Our newest design is embarrassingly retro, and they're awesome. So go get you a T-shirt or a sticker, whatever you need. And also, I understand times are tough. If you can't be a patron, can't go give us any money anyway, you're like, all I can do is listen. We understand, but the one thing you can do is leave us a review and or a 5-star rating on all podcasting platforms. So Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Yes.
Oh, a fellow checker, eh?
And that's an episode.
Yeah.
I love top 5 episodes because it's less
Yeah, I do
work for
too.
me to do during the week.
Same. So apparently, I'm looking at screen grabs from the Banjo-Kazooie show. Apparently, Conker is in it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a close-up of him wearing an army hat, and he has a gun in each hand.
So, Joey, if you're still in the chat room, please go find this for us. We have to see this.
Yeah, I badly want to see this happen.
But thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And go tell everybody about the show, especially if they like retro games. So we love you guys. We'll see all of you right